What's going on, guys? It's June 25th, which makes it Friday, which makes it Floral Friday. Happy Friday, guys. Drew over at Future Strategy Gaming coming at you with a reaction time video. Right now, we're going to jump into a Bellular Clips video. The Final Fantasy XIV Weeb thing. Is it going too far? Can't wait to see what he has to say about this.
So we got a super from Semphis Rythorn, who said, "What advice would you give to any new person wanting to try out Final Fantasy XIV and is held back because of the whole quotes weeb or art style? Now that you have a crack at it."
Stop being an idiot.
I think this is definitely one that's meant for, I guess, me as somebody who doesn't really play a lot of Japanese games.
Go for it.
Right, the weeb thing. What is in your head when you think weeb? I mean, that's a big question. I think it's the sort of thing where words lose their meaning over time. Weeb certainly is one of those words where, you know, it's at that stage, people will be like, sushi, that's a weeb food. You know? It's almost at the stage where...
Not particularly into anime, but I fucking love sushi.
You know, I don't know, will it be in 5 years, Ghost of Tsushima will be a weeb game as well, just because it's Japanese? I guess it's that thing where really people think of weeb stuff and they think of, you know, the sort of aspects of anime, where anime delves into anime and into anime and into anime. So
sure,
it's like, give me a
that's
weeb anime.
A weeb anime? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Just anyone off the top of your head.
The majority of them. For some reason, the only one I'm thinking of is like, really, this is really going to sound weird. The only one in my head is My Hero Academia, and that's actually very weeb, but it's very Western inspired as well, but it's also all of the weeb tropes that you expect from a shonen show. But it's like weeb stuff. Like, oh, actually, I've got another one. It's called what's it?
I just don't know anything about this. So
What's the name of it?
oh, he's
Called
fucking lost.
Machiavelli?
Oh, yeah.
I was
So
called Machiavelli, yeah.
that's what we can call weeb stuff.
Yeah, where it's
Now-
complete nightmare.
Studio Ghibli movie. That's not weeb stuff.
That's not weeb shit.
And basically,
No.
right? If somebody tells you that like a Studio Ghibli movie is weeb stuff, they're actually just fucking stupid. And
Yeah.
don't listen to what they're saying about this particular subject matter.
Absolutely.
Paprika.
Yeah, that's it.
Paprika is not weeb shit.
If
I
you
don't know
call
what
that
that
weeb,
is.
you actually need your brain checked, like.
Yeah. And when we apply that to video games, FF14. Now, if I'm going to say weeb elements, what are the weeb elements? Well,
Art style is something that
in that sort of usage, those things
gets
really,
picked up.
What does that mean? That basically just means something that a Western player is going to find fictitious in a way that is specific to maybe
Asian
norms
cultures?
and things in Japanese culture.
Well,
that
Japanese
are
culture,
bizarre
yeah.
and confusing to a Westerner who's got really no idea, but the Westerners who have really embraced that and went super, super deep into Japanese culture, who perhaps are referred to as weeaboos by some people, that they're okay with.
I highly doubt it. However, if any Japanese viewer watches this video for any reason, I guess they're using weeb to describe Japanese animated culture. What is something that Japanese might use as a slang for Western anime culture? Just because they are so different, cartoons are obviously very different between the two. What I would just be curious if you happen to have a different, like some verbiage you guys use to describe Western anime and that stuff. Just because I don't know anything about the subject, so I'm genuinely curious.
If it's that, I mean, it's what the floaty dudes are in every FF game. The
Muggles?
Muggles. Yes.
Muggles. Oh yeah, floaty dudes.
Maybe the Muggles are a little bit
Why?
or something, but they're not that.
The fucking
But
flying
all of
teddy
them,
bears.
You could sort of say that, but they're not written in a weeby way.
A lot
No,
of
and they're not.
all the flows are fucking gnomes. It's the same thing. So it's
Really?
just a different artistic style.
They're just different looking gnomes.
Fucking
Yeah,
this
so
guy gets
the
it.
whole weeb thing. It's like when you see the elves or the Ellen or whatever, the Elven. What are they called? The elves.
Elizin?
Elizons, yeah.
Like the Elizin do not come off like anything that you could really ever call as weeby. They're just totally up their own whole sort of high society sort of people.
Yeah.
There's really, in terms of how that story's written and how loads of the characters feel, it's not weeby.
It's just not.
Now, some of it will just feel a bit Japanese, but that doesn't mean it feels weeby in the way that...
Yeah.
So, you know, those people who just sort of use weeb as that, like, random pejorative that it doesn't
Right.
really mean anything.
Right. Weeb does not inherently mean Japanese, and playing a Japanese game or having a Japanese art style does not infer weeb. This is a topic I fucking hate.
Is going to be like floating around in your head if that's like so much of what you've heard generally. But hopping into FF, it's not a weeb game, I would say, at all. And the people who call it a weeb game do not understand what the term weeaboo really means.
No, they have this weird fucking xenophobia of something they don't even know about.
It basically just means video game made in Japan. And that really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
If sometimes it does honestly get to borderline a little bit of a certain ism. For some of them.
I would say
yeah, absolutely.
Xenophobia is
so I said xenophobia, but Michael Bellular was hinting towards racism. There's definitely some, but it's more xenophobia than anything.
Now the art style thing, it's not like it. I don't know. Maybe you could say it maybe as a Final Fantasy-ish art style, whatever. For me, it is just. It just has graphical issues. It's that thing where I think actually loads of their designs and stuff are really cool, and their characters look generally quite great, but like the aliasing and things like that are definitely issues.
Sure.
But that's just visuals. You can get over that. You know, yeah, WoW does look extremely clean and crisp, and it's very readable, and you do lose some of that. But
comparatively, maybe.
Just play it and get over that.
Yeah.
You know, don't let that be a massive roadblock.
Yeah, agreed.
Like build it up as a massive roadblock for yourself is sort of what I would say.
Compared to everything else, it comes across as like it. Okay, because it sounds like I would attack someone for nitpicking, for looking at and saying, "Well, I don't like that part." It's completely valid to not like that part, but the point that I'd like to get across more than anything else is, if you want to engage with something, if you want to see what people like about it, give it a try despite issues you initially have, especially surface level ones, because you'll soon find that everything outweighs that significantly.
Yeah, like Unknown Character 14 says.
Yes. You need to actually experience the game before you can make judgments. It's unfair to go play a game for 1 hour, especially a game that has 300 plus hours worth of content, if not more, just in single player mode. But if you play a game for an hour and then give these crazy grand explanations of why you don't like it, you don't even know the game yet. Like, it's ridiculous. I didn't think I was going to like Sekiro. That's one of my favorite games. It was so difficult because I always play it on a high setting, and it was amazing. What a game. But I went into it thinking I'm not going to like it because I didn't particularly like the way that the fighting style was. I learned to love it. So you got to experience it before you can pass judgment. It's unfair.
I think generally the accepted like definition of weeb is like whenever you get like a sort of, I think generally people, well, basically you get like somebody who's not from Japan who basically tries to live their life and pretend they're from Japan. It's like, you know, they basically become Japanese. Sort of.
Yeah, that's what
they go very far down the Japanese culture, which is fine. Everyone's allowed to do whatever they want, but that would be the closest way to describe that pejorative.
It's when people talk about weeb things, like people talk about a weeb game, they talk about Hyperdimension Neptunia. They sometimes talk about some of the Tales stuff.
I only saw the trailer. I get it.
Talking about some of the more Westerner unfriendly aspects of Persona, because people call like, it's weird because the better something is, the less weeb people call it.
Correct.
Even if it does adhere to a load of tropes.
Correct.
Whereas an example where I would call Hyperdimension Neptunia weeb garbage.
Gotcha.
And even though I actually sort of like it a little bit, but it's then Persona's like, well, it is a weeb as hell game because it's got that kind of like hyper Japanese aesthetic, it befits a load of anime tropes.
Yeah.
In so many ways. In fact, like the Persona series is kind of half. Like P4 ended up defining a lot of them, P3 as well, ended up defining a lot of those tropes for people. Yeah. So it's like that's what weeb is, because that's the definition is something like that.
Remember you said that? I was just thought of Chris Madsen's geek is, but it's just, you know, swap it instead of Chris, it's you. It's just you like weeb is.
Yeah.
Imagine, remember geek is. Oh man, what a thing that was.
The weebiest thing in Final Fantasy are the players. The cat girl emotes are a little weeby, but that's my own damn fault. Oh, he's talking about it.
I'm seeing it because I choose to play one. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much bang on.
Sorry, they don't
I think the
always
actual game
cover
that's
the
presented is not
supers.
super weeby at all.
Yeah.
Luxan just supered saying Illidan is just the Blizzard version of edgy Sasuke from Naruto.
It's Illidan.
Don't know what that means because I've never watched Naruto, but I know that there's like a meme of this Sasuke character.
Oh,
Some
Illidan.
sort of betrayal thing. I don't understand.
Illidan is very much a weeb character.
Yeah.
In the sense that it follows the same edginess that like the Sasuke character, the cold, emotionless rival, the anti-hero kind of character, but like that became associated with weeb stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was an aesthetic for so long in like shonen anime.
So I think that's just all to say. So thanks for all the supporting supers for that one as well. So Semphis, I think that's just to say that, you know, I think that weeb thing is maybe it can exist in some of the player-based stuff, and
Sure.
I think it can loom larger in our heads because of a whole bunch of expectations. But I think if you just approach that game
Predispositions.
for what it is, I think you just do find that thing where Final Fantasy generally as a series is not super weebish. It's not.
Correct.
And that's that. Now it could just be that, you know, it's an art style and stuff like that you don't like that much. And if you don't like it, then, you know, fair enough. Actually, certainly I'd say that my main advice to a new player in that game is just, you know, beware that A Realm Reborn is more slow. It is a little bit more of a slog. Really, the good shit starts to happen in Heavensward, but A Realm Reborn does have like loads of cool moments.
Yes.
Cool ending. I've appreciated my game time in it a fair bit, but I certainly, you know, I did go into it, I think, with the appropriate mindset based on everything that people had told me. So that's what I'd say to that one. There's one from Rico Mortis who said, "Can my super chat go towards Bellular hair estate? Hair real estate? Maybe name a strand after me." You know, I could name a strand after you. It would be quite hard to work out which strand it is next time, though. Man, but thank you.
Dye one strand of hair, different color.
That's it.
There you go.
Nobody sees it.
Yeah, that would certainly be a look.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What the fuck are these guys talking about? So this has almost nothing to do with the video. Two things I noticed while watching this. One, the production value, now that they've got such a consistent fan base and the supers have really been taking off. The production value, maybe not what you're seeing on screen, but down below, that bar at the bottom. Sorry, I'll move my mouse so that way this thing disappears. It's on pause.
That would certainly be a look.
But down here at the bottom,
Yeah.
you know, where the Bellular symbol and all that stuff was, that now stays on the screen the entire time, which prior to, or has recently become more frequent, but hasn't always been there. And then Matt has actually changed his handle. So it actually used to be at Plasmagi, or Plasmagi or Magi or whatever he was going for, but now it's Livagast. I just saw that. So that I find that to be interesting. I don't know. I pick up on small stuff. Okay. Super quick. The weeb thing going too far. It is. It really is, because there are predispositions based on xenophobia that are causing players to not give, not even just Final Fantasy, but other games the fair shake. And I would just say that I had a predisposition to Sekiro and was able to get over it because a friend of mine recommended the game and told me how good it is. And then I didn't like it because for 4 hours I played it on a keyboard and mouse because I didn't have a controller. And then I actually got a controller and realized that game's absolutely amazing. I mean, I know people always comment on Dark Souls a lot, but it was a really good game. So I think that breaking down those barriers, giving games a fair shake, and actually experiencing it will give you the right to say this is not for me. Don't get me wrong, I get the art style. I totally get it. It's not my favorite art style, but it's not a bad one. It actually, the game does look good. So to each their own is guess what I can say. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, thanks for coming out. Thanks for giving me your time today watching the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button right down below. If you want to see more of this content or some other content and have some recommendations, drop that in the comment for me, or hit that subscribe button. That's a free way you can support the channel. Appreciate you coming out. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Happy Floral Friday. Peace.